It's a Teen Talk Skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode number 82 of a Teen Talk Skating podcast. My name is Van Gogh, and I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. First off, I do want to note that I kind of have a sore throat. I'm pretty sure because it's been really hot where I live. I think it's like the hot air, the dry air. I've Googled it, I've WebMD'd it, and I'm pretty sure I don't have like a million other diseases. I think it's just because it's hot and I think the air has really affected my throat and my vocal cords. So obviously this is a podcast and I have to speak for like 50 minutes. So yeah. But if I sound weird, that's why I sound weird. So yeah. Anyway, um I have gone to school for 2 weeks now and I'm already kind of over it. Like I'm so over it. I'm literally waiting for next summer and the only thing that I have to look forward to is the Taylor Swift album and figure skating this season obviously. And obviously, I don't want next summer to come so that because that means all of figure skating would be over too. So at least the school year and the figure skating season kind of begin around the same time. So at least I have a side thing to do. But literally, I hate doing notes. I hate doing homework. I hate going to class. Like, oh my god. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing very well. Work and school and whatnot is all doing very, very well. And yeah, if you guys are healthy. I hope you guys are staying out of the heat if it's hot where you live. I know in some places it's cold and I'm jealous. And your vocal cords are probably not screwed up. For those of you maybe thinking your head, you should really take a break. Well, yeah, but I don't want to miss an episode of this. This is my like favorite thing to do, and maybe talking will cure my vocal cords. Probably not. I mean, it's happened before that I've been sick, kind of, and had a sore throat and vocal cords are damaged, and I had to record. But I'm experienced. Anyway, before I start ranting too much and get too gory or something, let's go to the program of the week. Okay, let's go. Let's go there. Program of the week. Okay, so for our program of the week this week, I have a very, very, very fun program. This is one I love to watch when I just see something that's fun and I feel like this is something I would skate to maybe. This is something I would do for fun and giggles. And this is such a good use of music, I feel like. And this program is Donovan Carrillo of Mexico and his 2021 World's Free Skate. The music is perhaps by Osvaldo Fares, performed by Daniel Boaventura and Carlos Rivera. And then there's also the Sway Mix by Pedro Infante, performed by none other than Michael Bublé. So those two pieces, perhaps, and Sway Mix are a very, Latin, very Mexican inspired program, obviously, considering that Donovan Carrillo is representing Mexico. And this is a wonderful use of music for a skater who very much is a very wonderful performer, of course, because I think there's just so many fun moments in this program where he's really using the music to his advantage. He starts off with a beautiful triple axel, triple toe. It goes really far. The triple toe at the end gets really good height. I often see that like the second jump or the third jump doesn't get as much height, but I feel like that one did get a lot of height. But anyway, there's some mistakes here and there, but it's all okay. There is this really cool moment where he does a spread eagle and adds the music says perhaps he does like one hand and then the other hand on his like stomach area, but like it sounds weird, but like I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's on the music. It's on the music beat. That's what I'm saying. The choreo sequence in this is definitely my absolute favorite part of this because I think it's such a fun, it's different, it's expressive. There is a knee slide in one direction counterclockwise, and then he doesn't get up and he kind of knee slides a little bit less, but in the other direction. I think that's a super cool moment. Before the knee slides, he does do like this split jump, which I think is really cool. It goes right with the music. It goes right with, everything that's going on. I really do enjoy that as well. And then any other specific moments in the program? Let me think. I don't actually remember. I literally just watched it 5 minutes ago. Um, I think I think in general, Donovan Carrillo is just a fun, expressive skater. Even in the step sequence, I feel like there is a really good use of the arm movements, the jazz hands, the punching out with the beat of the music. It's upbeat music, and I think it's very much music you have to commit to. If you did not skate your heart out and your emotion out with this music, I think the program would fall very, very flat because it's a very powerful, it's very light, and it's very energetic as well. And if you were just skating around and jumping, it would be very boring. Ooh, I did remember that he has this really cool sit spin position he does into a regular like sit spin where his head to his knee, but he does one that's like I call it like the runner's position in the sit spin where he's on one leg and the other leg is back, almost like you're crouching on the ground ready to run on the track or something, like that kind of pose, but obviously his knee is not on the ground, it's in the air. So one leg up and then the other leg is like push in with the knee. I don't know. It looks like a running pose. It's super cool. And I'd like that kind of position. It's definitely unique and different and not something you see all the time. But anyway, that is the program of the week. Donovan Carrillo, his 2021 World's Free Skate to perhaps, and Swimex. So go check it out if you want a good laugh, a good smile. It's definitely expressive. It's totally different to what a lot of the other men are doing. And I'm sure that is would be a great program if there had been an audience at that Worlds. I think the audience would have loved it for sure. But anyway, time for our main episode. That was your program of the week. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try not to like scream or yell too much in this, because my vocal cords feel absolutely crushed, and I need them tomorrow to do some stuff, because speaking is probably really important in your everyday life. So I'm gonna try to speak with like a less strained voice and hopefully not strain my throat and my vocal cords as much. So if it sounds like I'm just way different and I'm like way like I don't know, enunciated. That's why because I'm trying not to like skip over things, I guess. But I guess I'm really trying to like pronounce all the words like out and flowing and everything. I don't really know. But anyway, I was really struggling originally to come up with an idea for this episode. I had an idea about, I want to discuss the history of marketing in figure skating, but at the same time, I feel like that was not really a good idea at all. Like I don't know the first thing about marketing first of all, and I didn't really know what I was going to talk about there. And then I had an idea about kind of more like a historical perspective on skiing, maybe like the first jumps and stuff. Sorry. And I'm like, yeah, but like no one would watch that. So what I decided to do today, I came up with this one and I was very happy with it because I think it's a very perfect idea and it's funny and it's silly because I apply to all of those adjectives. I'm perfect and funny and silly. But I do really like this idea because I think it's a common experience that a lot of people come up with and or encounter in their everyday life, and that is that a lot of people want to convert their friends, their coworkers, their families, their students, their teachers, whoever, into skating fans, right? They want people to watch skating with. And this is something that's happened many, many times to me where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need you to watch skating. I feel you would love it. You would do this, you would do that. Like, come on, we can watch the Olympics together. Let's go to the Olympics together. Things like that. And I think this topic is really relevant heading into the Olympic season, particularly because obviously it's the Olympic season, it's the most special season at the end of the quad. And, I think this is like a very much prime time to get into figure skating. Like me, for example, I got into skating like the 2020-2021 season, which was not really a season because, the pandemic. But the 2021-2022 season heading up to the Beijing Olympics in 2022 were really my first big full figure skating season. And there was so much to learn about, so much to talk about, so much drama, so much this, so much that, so many new programs, so many skates. I loved every single second of it. And obviously, I totally understand the perspective that you want to be able to share that with other people. Because obviously, I feel like it's hard to find skating fans in the wild. I don't think I've I think I've met 2 people who have watched skating in real life. One girl, I cannot remember. I saw at school once, and I think, like, a mutual friend introduced us, but we just never really got along. All I remember is that she also watched figure skating. I really don't even remember her name, what she looks like, but I remember her saying that she liked to watch figure skating, and just a mutual friend, like, introduced us, but I literally cannot remember anything about her. We went to the middle school together, and I don't know where she is now. So, yeah, that's the first person, and the second person was one of my teachers, and I just mentioned briefly in class that I watched figure skating, and apparently this teacher did too. But I don't think she was like a huge serious fan. I think she was more of just like I watch it when I can and when it's like big events and stuff. So I think the hardest part is getting people into figure skating, but then the second hardest part is getting people really into figure skating because there is so much. Most people only watch Olympics, yeah, and then maybe Worlds, and maybe US nationals or whatever nationals in whatever country you live in, but no one's watching the Grand Prix, no one's watching the Challenger Series, yeah. But this is my totally professional and research and, very well researched guide on how to convert your friends into our cult that is the figure skating world. I know that this whole episode sounds really wrong, that we're trying to convert people into our hyper religious cult where the only thing that is allowed is doing triple axles and quad axles and, of course, backflips on ice. But, that's kind of what's happening. This is kind of like the worst episode I've ever made. It's kind of messy, but I really do want to talk about it because I think it is pretty relevant to what people need to understand and hopefully entice people into getting into sport. Obviously, it isn't a huge sport at all. There's not everyday. You can't spark an everyday conversation about Kari Sakamoto. You can't spark an everyday conversation about Ilya Molina in the same way you can like LeBron James or you know random other sports person, Steph Curry, or you know, yeah, Anyway, bro, I don't know what I'm saying at this point. My throat just hurts. Anyway, yeah. The common issues of fan that I'm listing is that no one wants to watch with me is the first biggest issue, right? Like no one wants to watch with me. That's how it is at home. Nobody in my family watches figure skating except me. Um, Yeah, and I don't have any friends who watch it. Occasionally I will send clips and everything, but then they don't really watch them. So I guess the main issue is like, oh my gosh, how do I solve this issue? How do I get people to see the wonder that figure skating has, the feelings that watching figure skating gives me, right? Um, how do I get people to see that there's so much interesting stuff that's happening? They should get invested. They should do this. They should do that. Yada, 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 yada. Personally, my big thing was making this podcast so I could talk to people kind of parasocially. But I know clearly not everyone wants to make a complete fool of themselves with the podcast. Even if you listen to my podcast, I know like not everyone wants to comment. Though if you want to comment, sure, comment, like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever. I don't even know, man. But obviously not everyone wants to do that. So how do you convert your friends into figure skating? So let's see, guys. Let's see. So 101 How to Convert Your Friends into Figure Skating by Van Gogh by a Teen Talking podcast. My first thing is to make a list of your favorite programs, like your personal favorite programs. Make a list with a bunch of links to YouTube or just send them, I feel like individually is fine as well. I remember back in seventh grade, I think I made friends with this one girl, and I really thought that she could become like I saw the potential in her, if that makes sense. I saw the potential that she could become a big figure skating fan. And I was like, you should really watch it with me. And she wasn't really into it, but I was super annoying and dumb and young and stupid, and I was an immature child. So I remember, I think every day of like our Thanksgiving break or something over school, I think that was like a whole week off. I sent her like a different program for her to watch, and she got super annoyed by it. But I still know her today, so I guess she doesn't hate me forever. But I remember, for example, I would send her programs One of them I remember was one of my favorites back then, Olga Mikutina and her 2021 Worlds Free Skate. Huge, great program if you ever want to watch it. I've done a program of the week for it like a long time ago. But that's something I did. I remember explaining like, "Hey, this is who she is," and she got eighth place at these worlds. It was a huge surprise because of this. I was trying to explain the story behind it, but also connect to everything like, oh, who is she and what country does she represent? How old is she? What's her music? What is her style like, etc. And so trying to provide that background information, I feel like, um, and this is something I really do when I see potential is really send a lot of videos. I remember another time, it was back in, yeah, I don't, it was like early high school, I want to say. I had another friend who I had just met then, and I explained to her that I love to watch figure skating. And she's like, oh, that's really cool. You should send me some programs that you enjoy. And I did. And I remember we had like a really interesting conversation one morning. I had sent her the what is it? Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer 2018 free skate at the Olympics to free dance at the Olympics to Moulin Rouge, their iconic Moulin Rouge program. And I remember she was so into it. She loved the program. She wanted to watch it like all the time. And that friend, like, she was more interested in figure skating, but she definitely did not get into it as much. At all, but I also still have that friend. So maybe the main lesson actually is that it's not bad to try. Like, even if your friends don't like figure skating, that doesn't mean that they're gonna hate you forever for sending them so many programs, but whatever. And I think this is something I personally do when I just see potential in somebody. Like, I might bring up, when I'm first meeting a person, I might bring up that, oh, I really enjoy figure skating, or anything like that. And they're like, "Oh, really? Like, oh, I didn't know like a lot of people watched it." I'm like, "Yeah, not a lot of people watch it, but I watch it, and maybe I'll send you something later, etc. about this or about that." It's big thing like that. So you have to find like potential. You can't expect everybody to be a figure skating fan. I don't really know if there's like specific characteristics of a person that make them more receptive to going into figure skating or watching it. I would say that if you mention it and they're genuinely interested, or they seem genuinely interested, they're like, "Oh, really? Like, I know about Yuzuru Hanyu, I know about Yuna Kim, I know about Alyssa Liu," that kind of thing. I feel like that shows some more interest as well. And you can't just go willy nilly and kind of try to convert anybody you want. That sounds so wrong. Oh my god. You kind of have to find someone who has like seems like they already have some interest built into them, some curiosity built into them without your prior intention at converting them. You need to find the subjects, the test subjects. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay. So that's the first step. Make a list of your favorite programs. Now, I want to say that you can send videos, but they don't have to necessarily be programs. Sometimes it can be, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, etc. Any type of short form content, because obviously our society is kind of to the point where short form content is the biggest thing. It's the big thing. It's the big shabam. It's everywhere these days, and so obviously that is something you can consider as well. There are a lot of good creators out there who make edits and they make posts and they make how-tos, for example. The main thing is the edits. People love to see a little like, ooh, figure skating romance story set to sad music by Billie Eilish or Lana Del Rey or kind of something like that. I feel like those go really, really viral on like Instagram, particularly. And I would say there's a lot of posts too. Sometimes posts can be funny, sometimes they're memes, sometimes they're this, sometimes they're that. And I would also say that there's a lot of like how to's. The ISU, for example, the International Skating Union, has kind of upped their social media game a little bit recently. I have to admit, back then, International Skating Union did not know what social media was, and they were using it for God knows what. And but nowadays they're actually posting a lot of how tos, like how does the flip jump work? How does the South cow jump work? How do I identify it? Um, special achievements of different skaters. They've really stepped up their game with that kind of thing, and so that's something you can consider is sending that kind of short form content, short form post. So that's really good. There are so many great creators out there. Obviously, some of them should have, you know, splat out like misinformation, but the good ones out there that I can't really name right now, but there's definitely good ones who make good videos, that make good tutorials, that make good edits about so and so and so and so and this drama and that drama. And, I think that maybe the short form content is a good way to go. Sending those videos every so often. Ha ha ha, I found this really funny. Oh my gosh, did you hear about this? That is so sad. Let me send you a video about it. So that is something that I would recommend as well. Though again, obviously not everybody may exactly, I guess, have that, I guess, in them to again wants to watch reels and shorts. So again, identifying their curiosity is an important thing, or maybe even honestly finding something they're interested in. Maybe, oh, here's a good example. Maybe they are really into a movie and a movie soundtrack. I have friends who are, I love Interstellar by Hans Zimmer. I love I love Star Wars. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I love Hamilton. I love La La Land. That's a big one, right? Play all of that. That's a really big one too. Is that send skating programs or reels that are related to their favorite piece of music. They're like, "Whoa, that's I love Interstellar. I love that program by who was someone who skated to Interstellar. I don't know. I love La La Land. Oh my gosh, Ashley Wagner's program was so cool. Kind of things like that. I feel like have a lot of potential in attracting people to the sport, attracting people to figure skating. If it's already something again that they already absolutely definitely like, and you're able to kind of build off of that, I feel like is a big thing. I swear my throat is getting sore by the second, but we will continue on, I guess. Um, I would also say that, sometimes it has to do with maybe they are into a movie, but not necessarily the soundtrack, but also the story. Maybe they're really into Romeo and Juliet. They think Romeo and Juliet is a really astonishing, surprising romantic story. There's so many programs out there set to Romeo and Juliet. A lot of ice dance programs that kind of tell the story of the play about falling in love, about dying at the end together. Obviously, that might be something as well. So I guess you can attract your friend interests, their own built-in curiosity, not necessarily again like cold emailing them like, "Hey, watch this program, you'll love it." They'll love it if they choose to love it, I think, and what makes it easier for them to choose to love it is if you persuade them through, "Hey, like this piece of music is good, this and that is good, etc." I have no idea, but that might be something you want to consider as you uh, do all of this stuff. Okay. The next thing is that mentioning drama, or honestly, not even doesn't have to be drama, just figure skating events in general and random convos. I wrote convos, but conversations. Oh my gosh, did you hear about how so and so was coached by so and so, but then they suddenly left to go to so and so instead? Like the horror in that, and you have to act shocked about it, surprised about it, and your friend will be like, "What? Like, what? Explain to me how this happened." And then that's your perfect opportunity to swoop in and show some skating. Um, so yeah, drama is a big thing. People like drama. It's like gossip, and figure skating is full of drama and gossip. Is it always good drama? Is it always good gossip? No, no, and no, but it's still, something to consider, maybe as you attract your friends and other fans into watching the sport and hopefully getting into it in the future or soon. I lost my train of thought. What was the next one that I forgot to write down? Mention jumps. Okay, people are very interested in jumping. People think the jumps in figure skating. As far as I could tell, because I've shown a lot of people, a lot of my friends, like the different jumps in figure skating, like trying to show them quads and triples and all these amazing skaters doing amazing jumps and throw jumps and ice dance lifts and whatnot. People are excited. People are definitely excited by that kind of thing. Um, People are excited by skaters who are able to do cool things. People are excited by this, by that. People are excited by, looking at the quad axle and seeing, oh, the raspberry twist, or they're doing somersaults, or they're doing aerials, or they're doing different activities, different things, I guess. And I think that can really make it a big thing in figure skating. Um, yeah, let me think. Yeah, that's kind of it for that point. But I would also say people are really interested in the main, storytelling aspect of it as well. Seeing again, like I said earlier with Romeo and Juliet, the tragedies of it, and if you're able to incorporate that into enticing people, that might be something you want to do as well. But again, kind of like arbitrary what you want to do with what you have and what you think your audience is, your field of interest is. I think that's all very much arbitrary in that way. um let's see, what was another point I was gonna make again? Misconceptions. I think a big thing too is clearing up misconceptions about the sport to attract people into it. I think if people are wrong, they're more likely to be invested in something. Doesn't make sense. I feel like if somebody is wrong, they like to be proven right. Does that make sense? And so they naturally become more curious about something. Like, let me think. If I get a problem wrong on my calculus worksheet because I hate calculus, it's actually impossible. And I'm naturally curious to try to go learn more about calculus to figure out what the heck I did wrong and maybe why calculus is stupid anyway. Sorry, my throat. But I think a lot of people have misconceptions about this sport. I remember I had one friend say that it was a friend from one of the stories earlier I told. She was the one I sent the Moulin Rouge program to, Tessa Richard Scott Moyer. But I remember she was confused about the backflip rule. She's like, "Isn't it illegal?" I'm like, "Well, it used to be illegal, but now it is made legal. You could actually do it in competition." And I think clearing up that misunderstanding for her, like, really changed something maybe. Like, she changed it changed something for sure in I don't know, I don't really know how to explain, I guess. Like, it changed something in, her perception of the sport maybe, that, "Oh, wow, like, it's not outdated anymore," or something. So, I guess she became a little bit more curious into it, and she's still somebody I talk to skating about still in real life, even though she might not be knowledgeable on everything. And so maybe that did help, like, clearing up that misunderstanding about the backflip rule and how it is actually now legal to do a backflip, even though that's a very controversial thing that, maybe we should talk about another time on the podcast, but, whatever. But I don't know if that's kind of it for bringing it up in conversations and everything, but that might be it. But I think another thing is just even straight up asking or inviting your friends to come over, or, let's watch the live stream together. I want to watch skating with me, because I think a really powerful thing comes within, shared experiences. If your friend sees that you're passionate about the sport, maybe they can, take the, what is it? I don't remember the expression, like, take the plunge, I guess, like, dive in and kinda do it for you as a person, like, "Hey, you're my friend, so I'll watch skating with you, and maybe I'll be interested, maybe I won't, but the important thing is that I'm just spending time with you." Maybe that might be a cool thing to say, to do. That might be it, right? Because sometimes, like, a lot of people get very excited and very energetic and very upbeat about, sports like football and soccer and basketball. And I think a lot of the big appeal is that a lot of people watch it with their family, their friends, their coworkers, and then they're able to, like, kind of discuss with those people as well. And I really do think that might be, a similar shared experience within figure skating, is being able to kind of say, "Hey, like, want to watch skating with me?" And then getting on the couch and watching skating together and having popcorn and chips and cheese and snacks. And after, like, oh my gosh, like the day after, like, I really like that last skater. Like, what was her name again? Oh, it was Yuma Kageyama. And maybe talking about that, I really liked his costume, I really liked his music choice, everything like that. And so maybe just explicitly, like, straight out, like, not even trying to convert your friends, just saying, "Hey, you wanna watch it with me?" Like, maybe, like, it's an open invitation to join the cult, maybe, I don't know. Want to come watch with me? Let's watch this event together. It's Worlds, it's the Olympics, it's really special. I think that's really a big thing. And I think that really the main thing is that it is repeated. It isn't, but I think you should repeat it for sure. Like, repeat sending them stuff. Obviously, maybe back off if they are really just not into it at all. And there's no interest, they're never replying they leave you on red, and there's no reply, and there's no message, and there's nothing saying that, "Oh, I'm really interested. Wow, you're great. Everything's so much fun. Ha ha ha." There is, like, nothing like that. I think you should probably stop, right? Because it would maybe be kind of awkward if you continued that. But I think the main thing is that it's repeated. It's not something that is not repeated, and not something that you give up on easily. Because if you want people to watch with you, you definitely need to continue and persist and continue and continue and continue watching and watching and watching. Um, and hopefully be able to get to that level where you're able to really convince your friends, convince your peoples to really get there, and in the way. And I really do think the main part of it is not giving up immediately and trying to repeat a few times, like over a few weeks, over a month or so, and hopefully, like, hey, do you want to watch? And maybe if it's no, it's no. Oh well, back off, la 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 la. My throat is getting so sore. And so yeah, I think the main thing is that is repeated. Okay. The next thing is the red flag section. These are like the red flags where if they're like not into skating. I think the main red flag is that if they call this sport ice skating still, and it's I don't know. That's my biggest like pet peeve. Like, it is not called ice skating. It is called figure skating. Okay, people, not ice skating, because ice skating can mean speed skating, figure skating, ice hockey things. Like, I don't even know. That's ice skating, but figure skating is very different from just regular skating on the dang ice. So I think that's like a red flag. I guess not a red flag. You can still change your perspective. Honestly, that might be something, right? A misconception. No, it's not called. It's not called ice skating. It's actually called figure skating. You're wrong. Ha. And then that becomes a conversation starter. I have no idea. That could be something. I have no idea, man. But that's something I love. Not I love, something I hate, for sure, something that annoys me is it's not called ice skating, especially if I've already said that I like to watch figure skating, and they're like, "Oh, ice skating is really cool." I'm like, "No. No, 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 no. You're not saying that to me." But that's kind of one of my biggest pet peeves. That's like a bad pet peeve to have, I feel like, but that's one of my pet peeves. Um, Another red flag I feel like is if they're, just not interested at all, and they just don't show their interest at all, and they, again, like I said earlier, they don't reply to anything you said. They don't, they're like, mm-hmm, 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 yeah, that sounds great, etc. And they're not actually like invested in the conversations. That's something, a red flag you have to like stop. Another big red flag I feel like is if they are, I don't know, aggressive, or like super duper. Like, I would never try to convert like someone who's like really, really aggressive and very like football, and like, in that way, like very like, I don't even know how to explain, very tough in that way. Because, like, I don't know, those type of people, I want to like make a blanket statement over everybody, but those types of people, like, just don't generally want to see skating, because skating is seen as kind of, unsophisticated, or it's not as cool because you're not throwing any balls around, you're not running, you're not hitting people, etc. I feel like those types of people are very much into their own type of aggressive, let's hit each other kind of sport, compared to figure skating, which is very light and elegant and still different. But the overall goal, I feel like, is to get people interested and hopefully as captivated as you are into the sport, like I am in the sport. And obviously, there's multiple ways to do that, like I discussed above. So yeah, you're hoping to get them interested, persuading them, pull out those, pull out that rhetoric, pull out that argumentation, style. Where is your counter argument? Where's your rebuttal, etc. Um, and try to argue, not argue, but like persuade. Persuade. Okay, what are the signs that it's working? I want to talk about that as well. So let me see. Signs that it is working, like signs that tell you that, it's working, that your friends are slowly being sucked into the portal of ice and skates and metal blades on tiny, 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 tiny blades on white boots or black boots and people jumping around like crazy. Signs that's working. I think that the main sign if it's working is if they bring it up and not you in a conversation. That's how you know, like, oh, I've been doing a good job. I've been doing a good job converting you over, man. Because if they start mentioning like, oh, hey, did you already see this? Or if they say, hey, did you already see that? Or did you, things like that. That's how you know it's working is if people are kind of approaching you about it and not the other way around. Like, and maybe like this could be, direct in person conversation kind of style, but it definitely could also be like, what is it called, like indirect, like they just sent you a message kind of thing, and now they're super interested, and um now they're talking to you about it instead of the other way around, and that might be something. And like, hey, like maybe they invite you over, like, hey, do you want to watch Worlds with me later, la 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 la. I think that's a really good thing. But obviously, is it going to work 100% of the time? No. There are a lot more signs it's not working, I feel like, than signs that it is working. So that's kind of unfortunate about, the reality of that. Okay. So let's see. Okay. The last section of this episode, I feel like this episode is probably gonna end pretty like short, but that's okay. The last part of this episode is that what do you do if you have tried like super duper hard and nobody wants to watch with you? Maybe you've tried everything. You've sent the DMs, you've talked to people in person, you've mentioned the drama, you mentioned the music, you mentioned the stories, you mentioned this, you mentioned that, and you tried so hard and no one wants to watch with you. Honestly, that is something to definitely have to experience. That's something I've experienced. Obviously, I've tried super hard, but I still do not know a huge figure skating fan within my, close friendships or relationships or anything like that. Um, no, like there's literally no one that watches it as seriously as I do, and there's honestly not many people who watch it at all. And that is a real thing that's happened to me. It's a real thing that happened to so many people who have tried to do this. I think the main thing is that you have to accept the defeat, but it's okay. And hope that there are gonna be, there will be, honestly, there will be more opportunities in the future as you meet more people who are maybe interested in different things, and therefore they could be very interested in figure skating. You live life, you gotta accept the defeats, and you gotta win when you can, and you gotta lose when you can't. My main thing is that maybe that if you are already a skater yourself, like you are a recreational skater, as in you skate, but you're not like planning to go to the Olympics or anything, maybe at your local ice skating rink, that there is maybe a group of people who are interested in watching figure skating events or anything like that, and maybe you can form kind of a group with them. Like, hey, do you want to meet up at my house? Do you want to meet up at the ice skating club? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Maybe start even a group chat. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe start a group chat where you talk about skating, where you um, talk about recent competitions and events in the figure skating world. That could be something, but obviously that's not, maybe ideal for everybody if you don't have access to a local ice skating club. I would say go online and find online communities. for example, there's a community on Reddit for figure skating where a lot of figure skating is talked about every single day. I'm trying to be a lot of very much active on that end. There's also communities on Instagram for sure and Twitter and slash X or whatever. Blue Sky, and Discord is probably there, and what's the last one I was gonna mention? TikToks as well, right? Now, within all of these communities, the main thing is obviously to avoid hate. There is a lot of negative content being posted out there. I would say, especially on X or Twitter or whatever. I feel like a lot of people all the time are always talking about how skating Twitter is super, super, super toxic or something. I have no idea. I know a lot of misinformation is found on Instagram. I've seen a lot of misinformation on Instagram, and I don't know, some people don't know what they're talking about and they pretend they know what they're talking about and people believe them, and I don't know, man. I don't know. So I guess that's something you could consider as well, but I don't really particularly recommend that. Um, but I think the best communities I've seen are on Reddit. I think Reddit's a super good community. I feel like it's filled mostly with the more intense fans or the more fans that know a lot more than the average viewer. So maybe that's your thing, but there are still safe spaces on Instagram and TikTok and whatnot that there are other people who are posting content. There's comment sections, there's sharing that you can do, etc. Yeah, but it's always obviously good to try to stay safe online. Don't give people your phone number, your address, your social security. Maybe make sure your account is set on private so they can't just like follow you and then see every single thing that you've ever done on the internet. Make your account private or make your account, maybe even make a separate account just for reviewing figure skating, things like that. Like I have for the podcast, I have a whole separate email and everything for the podcast. But I do think finding online communities can be very gratifying and very satisfactory because you again are finding other people who already watch skating, who you're just like, it's just you're one of them, I feel like. So it's great to comment with them, to share it with them, to link and like different posts that people are doing. um and hopefully that will lead to a lot more satisfaction and lots more what is that? What is that word? Like happiness, I guess, acceptance, feeling accepted in the community of figure skating through finding those online bigger communities where again there can be definitely a lot of people, but you want to make sure obviously that you like and post and comment and whatnot and make sure your voice is heard as well. And it's great to see so many people who have the same interests gathered in one space where, you know, outside of the online space, outside of the internet, you might not have that with other people. Like in my case where I don't have anyone unfortunately to watch skating with me in real life. But the people on the internet are sometimes very kind, you never know. Sometimes they are terrible and mean and will scam you and will steal your info. But some people out there in the skating world and on the internet world are genuinely kind people who just want to share their love for the sport with people like me and you. I would say that, maybe your online thing is not your favorite. So you could even make figure skating into a creative online project. Maybe you start a blog about figure skating like people do. Maybe you even start making your own account to make your own edits and things. Maybe you even make your own podcast. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, who would think about that? Just me, I guess. So maybe you want to make your own podcast about it. The main thing is that I think overall, remember that you are definitely not alone at all. There are fans like everywhere around the world. There are fans from the US and the UK and Europe, sorry to generalize Europe, and Asia, sorry, and Oceania and Africa and South America and maybe even Antarctica, I don't know. But there are fans everywhere. You're definitely not alone at all. You are not the only person in the whole world that watches this ridiculous sport called figure skating. And I know it feels like that sometimes, but remember that you're definitely not alone in that regard. And so you should go outside and try to find people locally, maybe, or go online and try to find people internationally who like the same things and everything. Make your own project, a blog, a podcast, some data information. I don't know, some cool website. I don't know, anything you want. But I think at the end of the day, that even if you can't convert your friends into figure skating fans, as my awesome handy dandy guide instructional guide try to show you how to do, there is still potential in terms of, trying to do other things as well. But that is kind of it for this week's episode of the Teen Talk Skating Podcast. My name is Go. If you guys enjoyed everything that you heard in this crazy video essay slash life advice episode, I guess, with my dead vocal cords, next week's episode will be a summary of the major summer competitions. So stay tuned for that. I'll be discussing a lot of competitions that happen in June and July, and I guess some in August, especially some more smaller competitions, such as I know Japan had a domestic competition, and a few other countries have had domestic ones already. And I would love to be able to discuss those. I am so excited for this upcoming Olympic season. I hope you guys are too. But I'm not excited for school for sure and all the stress. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode of the Teen Talk Podcast. My name is Mango. I will see you next week for a summary of all the major summer competitions. And bye bye.